And welcome, sports fans, to today's Sports Roundtable. Glad you joined us as we are getting underway with another season of the Sports Roundtable here on YHC TV, YHCTV.com, and Facebook Live. And week one of high school football is in the books. We're going to be taking a look at those matchups here in just a moment, but I do want to remind you that we are here all the way through late spring here on Saturdays live at 10 a.m. for the Sports Roundtable, giving you a recap of all the week's action and most notably high school sports here in Southeast Missouri, Northeast Arkansas, and looking forward to a good football season coming up as we've gotten underway with Missouri this week. Arkansas gets underway next week, which will be down in Arkansas for almost half of our broadcast down there, so we'll be looking forward to the games taking place down in Arkansas starting next week. And football season's here. We've got college football starting next weekend as well, and the pros will get underway in a couple weeks from now, a week later after next week. So we're in full swing into the fall season. That means high school football, college, pro football underway, and starting to get really exciting, getting into the school year and all the high school athletics getting underway for this fall season. So we'll carry quite a bit here for you for high school football. We'll get into our broadcast schedule here momentarily as well, and we'll give you updates on all the other fall action taking place in the area as well. So be sure to tune in Saturday mornings live at 10 a.m. right here on YHC. And high school football last night, big games across the area, week one matchups for Southeast Missouri. And first taking a look at a game that we did last night here on YHC. We brought that live to you from Metz-Cherry Stadium in Kennett last night. And the Kennett Indians were victorious over the Fredericktown Black Cats, 55-19. Dominant victory for the Indians last night. Very good showing. Got out to a big lead. I think they had, I think it was 48 of their points in the first half. So it was pretty much in cruise control for the second half there in Kennett last night. Dominant victory for the Indians. And taking a look at a highlight we got from last night's game. Taking a look from last night as we see your opening kickoff. Got an opening kickoff return for a touchdown. A little misdirection on the return by the Indians. And that's Joquan Williams taking it to the house off the return and getting the Kennett Indians on the board quickly on the first kickoff of the season. And here on the next drive, Fredericktown on a 4th and 8 in their own territory goes for it on a fake punt. Turned over on downs, and then we've got a handoff by Marshavon Harrell, taking it to the end zone right at the goal line, then punched in a few moments later. But then here we've got Trayvon Lemons. We got Elijah Lemons going in for the score for the Indians to put them up 22-0. Then a fumble and a recovery by A.J. Orman, taking it all the way into the end zone for the Black Cats, getting them on the board with that strange play. And then we got a nice throw into the end zone here, and Joquan Williams pulls down a touchdown with a nice pass from Spence for the touchdown. Now a pass into the end zone. Another pass in the end zone caught for the touchdown. And here a nice pass late in the first half, right before the first half ends. Spence connecting with Carter Maddox right inside the 5-yard line, then punched in for a touchdown. And into the third quarter, a nice run here by Marshavon Harrell once again goes into the end zone for the last score for the Indians that night. And a dominant victory for the Indians as they rolled to that victory 55-19. And a great outing for the Kennett Indians. And saw the passing game really open up last night. Andrew Spence coming in at quarterback for the first time this year. Really opened it up. A nice night passing through the air, deep, and even the short and intermediate routes. Very efficient night for Spence with a couple touchdown passes and that big throw to Carter Maddox down the field. Very nice throw and some big catches by these receivers for the Indians. Carter Maddox had a number of deep plays and big catches. Joquan Williams coming down with some big passes as well. So look forward to that Kennett Indians passing game to make some big plays for this season. They've really got the capability and got Trayvon Lemons I think he was an all-state tackle last year. If not, he was certainly all-region, and a great up front player. Trayvon Lemons, he was teamed up with Warren last year, was also an all-state caliber player. And Trayvon Lemons comes back and solidifies that front end for the defense for the Indians. So look out for these Indians. I know they lost a lot of talent from last year's team, notably Patrick Maddox at quarterback, Warren up front at defensive tackle, and a few others. But I tell you, they got a lot of talent returning on this team, and look out for the Indians this year. They just might make a run deep in the district tournament once again this year. And take a look at some other games from the area. Take a look at St. Genevieve and Dexter up in St. Genevieve. It was a 21-0 score for the in favor of the Dragons. The Dragons put up 21 points. It was a pretty close game throughout. I think it was around 14-0 for most of the game, and then a late touchdown by St. Genevieve put them ahead. And Dexter just unable to get on the board last night. It was a low-scoring affair last year as well. We broadcast the St. Genevieve Dexter game at Charles Bland Stadium here in Dexter last year, and they went down to the wire. I think it was only like a 14-7 kind of game. It was very low scoring, a lot of defense in the game, and a similar game last night, but Dexter unable to get on the board and make it close there late. But a good effort by the Bearcats. St. Genevieve, a little lull here in the last few years. They've a really good team, play pretty much at the top of that Class 3 District 1 each year, and we will see St. Genevieve take on Kennett in a few weeks. We'll talk about that once we get into our broadcast schedule. But the Dexter Bearcats, tough one on the road. Always a tough team to play right out of the gate. St. Genevieve, typically a very disciplined team. Don't make a lot of mistakes out of the gate, and they can make big plays as well. But coming up a bit short, the Bearcats last night to the Dragons. And also last night we had Charleston and Portageville over in Charleston, and Charleston getting that victory 56-13. Decisive victory for the Blue Jays last night. Also Sykeston over Vashon, big 64-0. The Bulldogs with a big win in week 1 over St. Louis's Vashon Wolverines as the Bulldogs go to 1-0. Hayti over Thayer, big Class 1 matchup. We'll talk about that a little more in our next segment, but nice victory for the Hayti Indians, 46-14 over Thayer. Scott City defeating Grandview 50-0. Shutout victory for the Scott City Rams over Grandview. Chaffee over Crystal City in a shutout, 20-0. Jackson over Webster Groves, 42-7. Big victory for the Jackson Indians, and I think that's a Class 5. I think Webster Groves is a Class 5 school. Might even be a Class 6, but nice victory for the Indians opening week for that victory over Webster Groves. East Prairie over Kelly, 22-12. East Prairie with a victory in week 1. New Madrid County Central over Malden in a shootout, 50-40. And we're going to talk more about this game in our next segment, but quite a shootout there. 90 points on the board between those two teams. New Madrid County Central getting a rare first week 1 victory over Malden. They've really, Malden's really had their way with New Madrid over the last handful of years and the run that they've had. And New Madrid's been on the worst side of that for, like I said, a handful of years, but finally getting a week 1 victory over Malden this year. And also we got North County over Cape Central, 56-34. North County over Cape Central in last night's game. And if you're looking to watch a replay of last night's game, Fredericktown versus Kennett, we're going to have that replaying today, Saturday at noon, coming up here shortly. Also at 6 p.m. later on this evening, Saturday at 6 p.m. and then Sunday at 4 p.m. You catch that replay over the weekend here on YHC TV, Channel 21. You can watch it anytime. Go to our website at yhctv.com. We've got it there to view as well on our website. You can go to our YouTube page. It's there, and even our Facebook page. We got a Facebook Live broadcast of that game last night, and go to our Facebook timeline and watch it there as well. And we're bringing a lot more games on many more platforms for our games in the area this year. Well, as last year, we're bringing it on here on Channel 21 on New Wave, also on our website at yhctv.com, and also at YouTube and Facebook Live. Most of our games will be available on all of those platforms, with the exception just a few when we double up crews on one night. I'll I'll talk more about in our broadcast schedule, but a lot more platforms to watch our games that we do here on YHC, along social media and our website at yhctv.com. And we're going to take a quick break and be back with some of those headlines from last night and what we can take away from week 1 going into week 2 next week in high school football. So we're going to take a break and be right back. And welcome back and take a look at some headlines coming away from last night as we talked about Kennett routing Fredericktown. And next week, they're taking their week 1 victory into Gosnell, Arkansas, next week down in northeast Arkansas. Gosnell, a very tough opponent there in northeast Arkansas, and a very good program down there. So Kennett going to have their hands full with a week 2 matchup against Gosnell down in Arkansas. And Gosnell, strange offense they run with that double wing. Don't see a whole lot of that around. So quite the prep work for Joel Wyatt and the Indians this week to prepare for Gosnell for next Friday night. So a big matchup for the Kennett Indians on the road in Arkansas this coming Friday. And also Sykeston getting that route of Vashon. Vashon, pretty weak football program there in St. Louis. Basketball program a little different, but Vashon coming down to Sykeston, and Sykeston getting a big victory, 64-0, and really having their way with the Wolverines last night. A lot of new faces for that Sykeston team. They lost quite a few players from last year's team, bringing in a lot of new faces at the varsity level this year. Got off to a good start with a 64-0 victory over Vashon. And St. Genevieve, as we mentioned, shut out Dexter 21-0. And it's been a close game. The last few years, Dexter was fortunate to get that win last year down to the wire, and a big victory last year for Dexter as they beat St. Genevieve here in Dexter. And St. Genevieve avenges that last night up there in St. Genevieve. And Dexter will move on to take on Salem, which we'll talk about in our broadcast schedule here momentarily. But it's going to be an interesting district this year, that Class 3 District 1. Park Hills also took a loss up north last night, so it's going to be pretty even keel across that Class 3 District 1. The notable teams are St. Genevieve and Park Hills. They're right there at the top. Kennett's been right up there at the top of the last couple of years. Potosi's right there in the mix. They've been kind of at the bottom of the past few years, but that's going to be probably more of the wide open districts we've seen this year than we've seen in years past. Wouldn't be surprised if we see a team, such as maybe Kennett, make a run for that district title this year, as wide open as that is, and even Dexter have a chance to at least get a home playoff game in the top 4 of that district this year. We'll see what happens, but that Class 3 District 1 will be one to watch this year, as it seems pretty wide open for the taking for that district championship. And moving on, Hayti defeating Thayer. Much anticipated Class 1 matchup. They both play out of Class 1. They meet up quite often in the state tournament later in the year, and seeing them in Class 1, they've been playing, or in Week 1, they've been playing in Week 1 for quite a few years now. And always a big matchup between those two. Hayti getting a pretty big win. I think it was 46-14, pretty big victory for Hayti. Probably one of the better teams in the area this year. Class for class. Hayti got Avery Winters, who's committed to play at Indiana University, and also got all kinds of other offers Never know where he's going to go to school with the offers that's going to be coming in for him. But a lot of talent on that Hayti Indian football team this year. Could very well make another deep run in the state tournament once again this season. So we'll see what happens. And we'll have Hayti on the schedule, which we'll talk about with the Porterville Bulldogs later in the year. So Hayti off to a great start, and we expect a great season from them this year down there in the Boot Hill. And New Madrid County Central, big win for the Eagles last night, taking on Malden. And as I mentioned in the last segment, New Madrid's really taking it on the chin from Malden the last handful of years. In that Week 1 matchup between those two, New Madrid and Malden, it's been lopsided for the last handful of years as Malden went on a great run for those 5 years, winning district championships and even making to a state championship and multiple semifinals appearances. And, New Madrid finally getting on the competitive level with Malden last night and getting a victory. It's a big win for New Madrid. They've been struggling the last few years. They've been really putting in the work, but it's good to see that their work's paying off with the victory over Malden. And it's one of those programs, New Madrid, a perennial power here in southeast Missouri. And the last handful of years, it's been tough for the Eagles, but looks like they might get things turned around this year. Off to a good start with a Week 1 victory over the Green Wave last night. And that's pretty much the headlines to look forward to going into Week 2 coming up. And we're going to take another break real quick and come back with our broadcast schedule for this year. We're 1 down, got about 16 more to go, I believe, for this season. And we're going to touch on those broadcasts that we're going to bring to you this year here on YHC. And welcome back, and we're going to take a look at this year's broadcast we're bringing to you here on YHC going forward, and Fredericktown and Kennett in the books last night. We'll be replaying that game all this weekend. You can catch that here on YHC today, Saturday at 12 noon and 6 p.m., and also Sunday at 4 p.m. Catch Fredericktown and Kennett replay from last night all this weekend. As I mentioned, you can go to our website at yhctv.com. It's there available to view right now. Also on our YouTube page and Facebook page as a Facebook live broadcast last night. So catch that, and big victory for the Indians last night. And take a look at the games going forward next week. For the 31st, we've got Salem at Dexter, and Dexter's home opener hosting the Salem Tigers, and you can catch that here on Channel 21 on our website at yhctv.com and Facebook Live, and that's what notes the TV W and Facebook. The TV is live here on Channel 21. The W is live on our website at yhctv.com, and the FB is Facebook Live, so you can watch on all of those platforms next week. Salem and Dexter, and that's a new opponent for the Bearcats. They've picked up Salem this year, and it's a common opponent, or not a common opponent, but a common class opponent. Salem plays in the Class 3 District 1 as well. They got into the Class 3 District last year. And a nice Class 3 opponent for Dexter to take on. And also we'll be down in Piggott for Piggott's season opener. They've got the west side out of Jonesboro coming to town. And that home opener for the Piggott Mohawks season opener will be live on the website. Catch it on the website at yhctv.com. You can watch it live on our website. It's only available live on our website at yhctv.com. We'll have a replay of that game the following Sunday at 7 p.m. and Tuesday at 6:30. You can catch the replay of that game. The only way to watch that is it shows the W is at yhctv.com. And on September 7th, we got St. Genevieve at Kennett. Big matchup. Class 3 District 1 matchup there. Could have some district tournament seeding ramifications later on in the year, and we'll have that here on Channel 21, yhctv.com, and Facebook Live. And also that night we'll have Malden at Portageville, our first Portageville broadcast of the year, as the Bulldogs host the Malden Green Wave, and we'll be looking forward to that Friday night. And that'll be on YHCTV.com live. And on the 14th, we got Crothersville at Kennett, Boot Hill Clash there in Kennett on the 14th, and we'll have that here on Channel 21 and online. And also a Clay County Clash that evening as well, Rector at Piggott at Parker Field, and you can watch that one on the website live. And on the 21st, September 21st, we got Doniphan at Dexter, also a new opponent for the Bearcats. They picked up the Doniphan Dons in their new football program. So the Dexter Bearcats will host the Dons there on the 21st. And Manila at Piggott the same evening down in Piggott. Catch that one on the website as well. September 28th, the next week, Scott City at Portageville. We're going to bring that game live here on Channel 21, YHCTV.com, and Facebook Live that evening. Portageville Bulldogs will be live here on Channel 21 there on the 28th. Then into October 5th, we got Kennett at Dexter. Always a big rivalry game between those two. And Kennett beat Dexter for the first time in many years. I think it was up to, 12 or 15 years? Well, it might have been a few years ago that Kennett finally knocked off Dexter, but Kennett knocked off Dexter last year as well. And we'll bring that one here on Channel 21 and online there on October 5th. Big rivalry game there. And on October 12th, we got our TriCast, our first ever football TriCast. We pulled off a basketball TriCast last year in the district championships, but this year in the regular season, we're going to pull off a TriCast on October 12th. We've got Park Hill Central at Dexter. That'll be the game that's carried here on Channel 21, but you can watch it online as well, and it'll also be on Facebook Live. The other two broadcasts we'll have live on our website at YHCTV.com. That's Malden at Kennett, Dufflin County Clash there, the Dufflin County Championship, and also Hoxie at Piggott, a big 3A3 matchup there in Northeast Arkansas. Both those games, all the games, you can watch on YHCTV.com, but the Malden and Kennett Hoxie Piggott game will only be viewed on YHCTV.com on a live basis. So first ever TriCast for high school football we're doing on October 12th. That'll be a big night, big games as well here on YHC. And later in October 19th, we got Hayti at Portageville and that Boot Hill matchup. That'll be live here on Channel 21, YHCTV.com, and Facebook Live. Then on the 26th, we got Newport at Piggott, 3A3 matchup there, Northeast Arkansas. That'll be live here on Channel 21 and online as well. And we'll wrap up our regular season with Corning at Piggott. That's a Thursday night game in the Rice Bowl. We always pretty much end our regular season with the Rice Bowl when it's there at Piggott at Parker Field, and that'll be the case on November 1st on a Thursday night. That'll also be on Channel 21 and live online at YHCTV.com and Facebook Live as well. So there's the matchups to look forward to going forward here on YHC and the broadcast we're bringing to you here on Channel 21 and all of our online platforms. So hopefully you'll join us for the remainder of the year as we get set to bring you more high school football here on Channel 21. So, well, I'll tell you, it was nice last night. Temperature got down in the 70s in the evening, but we've had 80s right around, or highs around the 80 degree mark for the last couple of weeks, and boy, it was a change last night. Usually the first couple of weeks you sweat it out in the humid nights of August, but last night about as nice of a week one experience that we've had in quite some time, but it is heating back up this weekend and into next week, so we were due for it, but it looks like it's going to warm back up this week in the area, so we'll see what happens next week. But really nice week one weather for high school football. And we'll move into a little Cardinal update. Man, these St. Louis Cardinals are surging, and they're in the first wild card spot and getting a victory last night over a much needed win for the Cardinals on the road in Colorado, taking on the Colorado Rockies, which they are right there in the wild card mix as well. 7-5 victory for the Cardinals as Milas got a big home run for the Cardinals. The starting pitcher helping his own cause, and big help for the Cardinal offense getting that victory last night. And back in action this weekend as let's see who the pitching matchups are for the weekend. That is a 7-10 start this evening, Saturday evening. I think I saw that right. 7-10 start taking on the Rockies tonight, Saturday evening, and Gant gets the start for the Cardinals. He's 5-5 with a 3.76 ERA, taking on Marquez for the Rockies, 11-9 with a 4.42 ERA, and that's the matchup for Saturday night. We'll take a look at Sunday quickly here. Sunday's matchup, 2:10 afternoon game start there in Colorado. Sunday afternoon, Gomber gets the start for the Cardinals. He's 3-0 with a 2.98 ERA, taking on Anderson for the Rockies, 6-6 with a 4.45 ERA. And taking a look at the division standings, the Cardinals are 3 games back of the Chicago Cubs for that division lead, and they are in second place outright. And in the wild card, they are still a half game up on the Brewers for that first wild card spot. It's unbelievable. A month ago, they were about 5 games out of the wild card spot, the second wild card spot. Now they're in the top wild card spot. 2 wild card spots in each league. In Major League Baseball, the Cardinals have the top spot, up a half a game on Milwaukee, who has that second wild card spot, and Colorado is the third team in the wild card race, and they are a game out of Milwaukee for that second wild card spot. So it's a big series, even though it's not a division series. Holding off the Rockies there in the wild card race, pivotal for the Cardinals. Not only secure a wild card spot, but hopefully eventually contending for that National League Central pennant by end of September. We got plenty of time left to overcome 3 games, and the way they're playing, they can make that up in a hurry if they can get a little help from the Cubs. To drop a few here and there on the way to the end of the season here in upcoming September. So we'll see what happens. But the Cardinals, unbelievable. They've made the run that they have over the last month or so, and putting themselves in contention for postseason play. And NFL, the NFL is about to get underway. Also, college football. We'll have college football games next week. September 1st will be the first week of college football. And let's go ahead and take a look at next week's games to look forward to. Actually, there's going to be a game this Thursday night. We'll have UCF at Central Florida, 21st ranked Central Florida taking on UConn. That'll be on ESPN Use Thursday night at 6 o'clock. Then Friday, we got Utah at Michigan State. Utah at 11th ranked Michigan State, 6 o'clock start. That'll be Friday night on the Big Ten Network. Western Kentucky at 4th ranked Wisconsin, also Friday night on ESPN, and Wisconsin 34.5 point favorites in that one. So Wisconsin going to be contending for a national title this year. Made a good run last year. That'll be Friday on ESPN, Western Kentucky and Wisconsin. Also Friday night, San Diego State at 13th ranked Stanford. That'll be Friday night on FS1. Stanford 15.5 point favorites in that one. And take a look at some big matchups Saturday. Next Saturday, September 1st, we'll have FAU, that's Florida Atlantic, led by Lane Kiffin. They've done well here in the last year with him, and they're on the road at 7th ranked Oklahoma. And Oklahoma 24 point favorites in that one. 23rd ranked Texas at Maryland, and Texas 13.5 point favorites in that one. Furman at 2nd ranked Clemson, and there's no odds on that one. That'd be pretty lopsided there. Here's some big games here. We've got 6th ranked Washington at 9th ranked Auburn. Non-conference matchup there. That'll be Saturday afternoon on ABC. Auburn 2.5 point favorites in that one. Looking ahead, we've got Tennessee at 17th ranked West Virginia. Saturday afternoon, West Virginia 10 point favorites in that one. Michigan, big matchup here. 14th ranked Michigan at 12th ranked Notre Dame. Saturday night on NBC. Michigan, a 1 point favorite on the road against the Irish at this point. So, interesting matchup that'll be with Michigan and Notre Dame next Saturday evening. And Louisville takes on top-ranked Alabama, and that'll be Saturday night on ABC. Alabama 24.5 point favorites looking to defend their national championship, and it's just kind of routine at this point. Alabama to open up number 1 and pretty much stay number 1. They're going to have they got quite the quarterback, I wouldn't say controversy, but at least competition between Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa. Yeah, probably blew his name there, but showed up big in the national championship for Hurts. And I expect Tua to make a start. I really do. The way he played in the national championship game and the way he plays in the passing game, where Jalen Hurts is not quite at the level passing as Tua is. But we'll see what happens. We might see them kind of switch off, just depending on the offense. So we'll see what happens. That's one interesting thing about Alabama, a little bit of controversy, if there's ever any, surrounding Alabama other than winning games. So we'll see what happens. That'll be interesting to see who opens up as the Week 1 starter for Alabama. And other than that, we've got next Sunday, the Sunday game, we've got 8th-ranked Miami at 25th-ranked LSU, and Miami 3.5-point favorites in that game next Sunday. And then next Monday night, 20th-ranked Virginia Tech at 19th-ranked Florida State. And an ACC matchup, Florida State 7.5-point favorites in that matchup next Monday night on September 3rd. And then the following week, we will have the NFL. That following Thursday, that'll be on the 5th? Yeah, September 5th. The defending world champion, Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles will open up at home. And that's always the Thursday night opening season tradition. And we'll be into the NFL season starting on September 7th. So it's coming upon us. High school football getting underway, and then college, and then pro right after. So here, bring on the football, all you can handle. A lot of football on the TV through this fall, so look forward to that. And we'll bring plenty of it here on YHC as well with high school football. And that's pretty much all we've got to bring to you for today. And with Week 1 in the books, and we'll look forward to Week 2 next week. Couple games we're bringing to you. Salem at Dexter next Friday night, live here on Channel 21, YHCTV.com, and Facebook Live, and also down in Piggott for Piggott's season opener, West Side at Piggott. That'll be live on the website at YHCTV.com next Saturday. So hopefully you'll tune in for those broadcasts going forward. And the Sports Roundtable here Saturday mornings live at 10 a.m. We're going to start having guests in here in studio and over the phone. We're going to get some coaches, some sports writers in the area, and contributors as well to give some input on the sports scene here in Southeast Missouri and Northeast Arkansas. So that's going to wrap it up for our first roundtable of the season. And we'll see you next week for another roundtable here on YHC. Take care, everyone.